Today's case takes us to Adelaide, the year 1960s. At this time, the city was soaked in a quiet charm, sun-drenched beaches, sleepy suburbs, and a strong sense of community. It was the kind of place where children rode bikes until dusk, neighbours left doors unlocked, and families trusted the world around them. Glenelg Beach, just a short bus ride away from the major city centre, was a beloved escape for locals, especially on Australia Day, when the shoreline buzzed with celebration. But on January 26, 1966, that sense of safety was shattered. Three siblings, Jane, Arnna, and Grant Beaumont, left their home in Somerton Park for a routine trip to Glenelg Beach. They never returned. Their disappearance became the most haunting cold case in Australian history, a seismic event that changed the way that a nation viewed childhood, trust, and public safety. This episode explores the full depth of the Beaumont children's story, from their final known movements to the deeply flawed investigation that followed, the suspects who emerge, and the chilling legacy of a case that still grips Australia nearly 60 years later. Hello and welcome back to the Passport to Crime podcast. I'm your host Oakley, and today we're stepping into the sunlit streets of Adelaide, South Australia, a place once defined by its tranquility, where the idea of danger felt distant, almost foreign so to speak. But on one summer morning in 1966, that illusion was shattered. This is the story of the Beaumont children. The story of Jane, aged 9, Arnna, aged 7, and Grant Beaumont, aged 4. On January 26, 1966, they boarded a bus to Glenelg Beach, just a few kilometres from their home in Somerton Park. This was a routine outing. They'd done it before, but this time they never came back. It was Australia Day. The country was celebrating. The sun was blazing, and somewhere between the shoreline and the suburbs, 3 children vanished without a trace. But before we begin, as usual, a quick disclaimer. This episode contains discussions of child abduction, suspected murder, and unresolved investigations. Listener discretion is strongly advised. All accounts are drawn from verified public records, witness statements, and investigative journalism. The Beaumonts lived in a modest home on Harding Street. Their father, Jim Beaumont, had left early that morning for a business trip. Their mother, Nancy, allowed the children to take the short bus ride to Glenelg Beach. It was a decision she would relive in anguish for the rest of her life. Witnesses later reported seeing the children playing near the Collie Reserve and Wenzel's cake shop. They were spotted with a tall, thin man in his mid-30s, suntanned, fair-haired and casually dressed. He seemed friendly. The children appeared relaxed. One witness claimed Jane was holding a £1 note, unusual for a child of her age. Another said the group walked away together around noon. This was the last confirmed sighting. When Nancy went to meet the children at the bus stop, they didn't arrive. Panic set in by the evening, and the police were involved, but the trail was already cold. The investigation was massive. Hundreds of leads, thousands of interviews, but no bodies, no physical evidence, and definitely no arrests. And yet, despite the scale of the search, the investigation was deeply flawed. Witness statements were taken late or inconsistently. The beach area wasn't cordoned off. No forensic evidence was preserved. The man seen with the children was never properly identified or tracked, and the police failed to follow up on key leads in the critical first 48 hours of their disappearance. The case was treated more like a missing persons report than a potential abduction, and as days turned into weeks, the momentum faded. Theories swirled. Some believed the children had been abducted by a stranger. Others suspected someone they knew. Over the years, several suspects emerged, including convicted child killer James O'Neill and businessman Harry Phipps, a known paedophile who lived near Glenelg Beach. In 2013, 2 men claimed Phipps had paid them to dig a grave-sized hole at his factory site just days after the children disappeared. That site was excavated twice, once in 2013 and again in 2018, but no remains were found. Then came a chilling revelation. In 2023, a woman known only as Louise came forward. She alleged that Phipps had taken the children to his factory, where the girls were sexually assaulted and murdered. Grant, she claimed, was taken elsewhere and later killed. Louise said she was part of the same paedophile ring and had been warned, if you ever speak up, you'll end up under the concrete like the Beaumonts. Her testimony was subjected to a lie detector test by former detective Bill Hayes, who declared her account truthful. But without physical evidence, the case remains officially unsolved. The Beaumont case didn't just shake Adelaide, it shook the entire country. Before 1966, children roamed freely. After, Parents held tighter, the case changed public consciousness, and it changed policing. It changed everything. The media coverage was relentless. The children's faces were printed on every front page, and their names became etched into the national psyche. The Beaumonts became a symbol, not just of loss, but of a collective reckoning with vulnerability. Jane, Arnna, and Grant were bright, joyful, and deeply loved. Disappearance left a wound that never healed. Nancy and Jim Beaumont spent decades searching, hoping, and grieving. Jim passed away in 2019, and Nancy remains, still waiting for answers. The case has inspired books, documentaries, and countless theories. Some believe the children were taken overseas. Others think they were buried in Adelaide's western suburbs. Every few years a new tip surfaces, a new excavation begins, and each time hope flickers, only to be extinguished again. So why after nearly 60 years does this disappearance of the Beaumont children still haunt Australia? Because it marked the end of an era. Because it exposed the cracks in institutional response. Because it reminded us that even in broad daylight, horror can unfold. This case isn't just about what happened, it's about what didn't. There was no closure, no justice, and no peace. Was it a random act, planned abduction, or something more sinister, buried beneath layers of silence and fear? Thank you for joining me for this investigation. If this story moved you, challenged you, or made you question the official narrative, I invite you to share it. The Beaumont children deserve to be remembered, not just in headlines, but in truth. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and stay critical. And remember, behind every sunny beach, there's a shadow waiting to be understood. And if you're not already, why not check out our Instagram at the Passport to Crime podcast for exclusive content, episode drops, and more stories that dig beneath the surface. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye for now.